I'm never old enough to give up.
In CS, you know, so having an opportunity like this to get signed for an org like this and kind of you know, flesh out the finer details of how you're going to perform as a player, it's going to be great for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we should be hopping into the map very shortly as we get this lovely graphic to showcase Inferno. What do you reckon of Inferno in general? Do you kind of fancy it as a more of a puggy map, or do you think that it really lends itself to a more structured, like kind of default team?
This is my map jammer now. You know, I've gone from playing Mirage repeatedly on matchmaking to now playing Inferno consistently, you know, constantly more or less. I think that's testament to the warm up. What is it? The warm up thing that you sent me from Steam on the workshop.
Yes.
Because the very first kind of like warm up round that you get to play is on Inferno. So I now just consistently play Inferno because by the time I finish the first map of warm up, I'm ready to go for the rest of my evening. Which is a little bit boring at times, of course. You know, I do like to mix it up with a few with a few verticals here and there and a couple of nukes here and there. But for me, at least anyway, this map is a very puggy map. It's one of those sort of maps that's very well versed and well played amongst a lot of teams. Yeah. You know, there's not a lot of room to be creative as much as you can do with other maps. You know, like Overpass, for example. You know, like Vertigo, for example. You can be a bit more creative with your playstyle. This one is very much a case of you're either going to attack A or B. If you're going to attack B side, there are simple strats that you're going to use on T side to hit that B side. There are simple strats that you're going to use in order to defend against the attack on B side. If you're CT side, you know, the smokes are very much the same. The mollies are very much the same. There's good utility usage avenues across the entirety of the map, realistically speaking, to block off avenues of approach. There's not a whole lot of creativity with it, but I'm interested to see what these guys can push out for us. I know we've talked at great length before the map even begins about these two teams, so let's actually jump in and see what they can put out for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Pistol round, hot off the heels, and oh, there's a very aggressive peek from Poggies into middle. Prodigies might get crunched if they're not careful. Luckily, some of the danger of that threat gets taken out from a retreat on B. However, a quick lurk can be on the cards. Vladim is holding off this coffins area and the nades fly over, so good utility usage from the Prodigies to section off the site, and that is full site control rendered over straight away, right?
That's really good performance there from Prodigies. They've taken full advantage of the over-aggressive peak there through into mid by Poggies, but oh my days, Pogzilla just destroyed the entirety of that T-side hold into B-side, and it feels like Prodigies are scrambling at the minute. TVS will fall Acorns there to be able to swing back in. It's now 3v2. There's a lot of HP difference between these two sides, but it doesn't matter in the end. Johnny will finish off both players back-to-back and take his team through into the first round win.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for the Prodigies. You know, they get full site control, but I think there's just that little lacking in the awareness of some of these players to kind of just be careful of a boost like this. The timings don't work out for them, and this ending crossfire wasn't quite strong enough, so it is going to be Poggies picking up the first round. Unfortunate, but they did get the bomb plant, so they can go for this semi-buy of the pistols. I was half expecting a full buy, which is what you more commonly see, but
yeah,
you know, each to their own, right?
We saw that replay a second ago. That swing from Johnny is lethal on Dacon, and it kind of changes the dynamic as far as Prodigy's hold on B side. But we're not seeing quite as much of an aggressive peak there from Poggies onto mid this round. They've gone for a bit more of a conservative approach. I say that as Zilla basically pushes forward into smoke and smacks out Jerome and takes him out of that fight early on. But we can see the stack is there ready to push in towards B side. It is just a matter of time. And there is no utility as such in the hands of Prodigies to be able to push this forward into the zone itself. TVS will get flashed as he side peeks into it. Johnny is definitely a danger man at the minute. He's proven that effectively by taking down TVS. That tap damage coming in after the frag goes through. He's in a good position to kind of hold his own at the moment, but he does have a player there to give him some cover. Not that it's going to matter for too much longer. It's a good position to hold. He's now done and dusted, however. He has to reset off the back of it, and SPT will fall. But you can kind of see a little bit of a stifling movement there from Prodigies. They can still continue to commit into this push, but they need to start making that movement quicker and faster on the reload.
Yeah, I think that kind of delayed play there was directed to try and get the rotations to fall away, and they do get a little bit more space off the back of it, but no real success. You know, there was almost a possibility of a bomb plant, a couple of kills. That's fine for an armor pistol, but you kind of were hoping for a little bit more. Unlucky, unfortunate, but you got to forget rounds like that and just move into rounds exactly like this, where it's a gun round. And, you know, Poggies, they're going to go for that bonus round with the MP9. But I think this is a perfect chance for the Prodigies to kind of show a bit more of what their game plan is for this.
Yep, don't forget, again, of course, you can enter into the giveaway. You just need to try to guess the weight of the death out of 3. We'll pop that in chat at any time throughout the entirety of the stream, and we'll be keeping an eye on things as they swing through. Good AK kill there on from TVS and Zilla. That's a danger man taken out from mid control immediately by Prodigies. Poggies there kind of wrapping themselves around into a good position to still maintain that hold on to mid. I mean, look at this double stack jammer. You know, we have a player up on high that will be Vladim. In fact, the danger man that we mentioned pre-stream start. But this stack is still looking towards B site, and the bomb is kind of hovering back down towards T side, just waiting for that little bit of extra clearance to be able to confirm the ball being pushed up into that side. I think at the moment, a reset might be in order. I mean, realistically speaking, the MP9 is still back at A site. We haven't heard it pop off, so they don't know it's there. We do, of course, but this push should commit as soon as those flashes and smokes go through. Good utility uses there by Prodigies. It is now just a case of committing on the back of it. Slow walks up into sight, a little bit of noise off the back end, but Johnny's taken down immediately, and it's a scramble from the CT side to try and recover some sort of ground here while he gets his rotation players to come through into the site. So Prodigy's got good post-plant position though, Jammer. This is going to be a difficult retake.
Yeah, I don't think they can even go for it. They don't have man advantage. You know, they're 2-man down. There's even a lurk here to stop any players from saving their rifles. That's Jerome waiting perfectly. I think he's a little bit too
eager there.
Yeah, too eager there, but you should be able to pick up a kill or two. The time, so that's unfortunate. Jerome does go down, but ultimately it's inconsequential. The Prodigy is still going to pick up a round. It's a nice play from them, and they use their utility very effectively. And I think that's something that we're going to get an insight to is the next round as we get a comms round. Sorry.
Bye.
Can you drop one, please?
I'll drop one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's play again.
Akon, can you drop one flash?
On 3B again?
Thank you.
Yeah. Give me your nade, TVS. We can actually double nade car, Akon.
I'm gonna molly and no nade.
I'm flashing in for you. You're solo, Jordan.
Yeah, I took my flash, me on.
I drop.
Thank you.
Flashing first.
Good
I
communication
didn't
there.
see cross
Swine.
nade deep mid. One is
Yeah,
source.
just
Passive. They flash mid.
They're passive again.
They mono
ups. They mono deep ups.
Can we
Only
come
one nade
faster
on
B
B.
and
Yeah,
we
I'm
conquer
coming
B?
towards B.
I will
Come, let's
They
clear on
saved
walk.
util, they
Clear
might
on
be
walk.
playing retake.
Yeah, just play anti one of you.
I'm anti.
Can you be ready with
Holding
flash?
corner.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Akon, smoke city while running. Come here. Flash?
Flashing. Boom. Right triple.
Holding coffin speak.
He's
Second
second
one.
box. Second
I'm
box.
Quiet.
You're
Second
burning.
quiet.
I smoke
He's
coffin.
burning.
Let's go kill him.
It's burning. Nice.
Coffin's out!
Dead.
Nice.
Nice.
Against 3.
Might be one more side.
I
have
Banana. On that side.
Just stay good
I'm
position
I'm
inside.
re-smoking CT. Re-smoking
Yeah,
CT.
play
I'm
good
standing
position
here.
inside.
see banana. One is. I'm just hiding triple now.
Full no more smoke city.
Okay, I'm molotoving runes.
CT1.
Might be
Right,
close
keep
left,
your
not
flash
clear,
and we
close
flash
left.
and we pick together all.
No, close left.
You ready to pick city after, guys?
But
Okay, flash
you want
city,
Flashing.
don't say from runes.
okay. Careful from horns.
Take care banana when you come, could be left.
Careful
Need to
coffins.
run here.
Yeah.
We can stay here, don't go ramp. We are
Crouch.
Just
safe.
survive. Let's
Good
increase
job.
our money.
Good play, boys.
Watch out for some change on banana. We
Yeah.
crushed him on the side 2 times in a row now.
Interesting.
Good round there from.
Wow.
Go on, you. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, no,
I'll
go
let
on, go
you
on.
speak. No. You go ahead. You.
Yeah, I was going to say, really interesting approach. You know, they had a clear game plan. They even, you know, whittled it down to the specific nades they're going to use and stagger. But yeah, carry on with what you were going to say.
I was pretty much going to echo exactly what you said. There was good utility usage, but it was good actually to listen into these players and hear the thought processes going behind those utility usages. You know, swap my nade around me, let me get that flash off you, let's get the smoke in position, and kind of, you know, they're working through the issue. You know, they're trying to work the problem out while it's happening around them. So it's good to see that kind of momentum taking place, especially after first 2-round loss, and then they're bringing these rounds back into it. They're putting that pressure onto Poggies. Speaking of pressure, Poggies have gone back on the offensive again towards mid-side. They've planted 2 players deep up top of CT mid, and they're kind of getting into position to really hold this off. But we could hear just briefly from the comms before they cut out Jammer, this potentially looks like it's going to be a B strat again anyway. There's a lot of utility usage going A, so they may have switched things up again.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see from that very hesitant peek from the Prodigies. They suss out that setup straight away, and they're sent scarpering away. And that will make Poggies reconsider their position. They are going to rotate very heavily over towards B, and that's just as the Prodigies are going to start to execute. Interesting flash and then push behind it, but it is just to buy space for that kind of a peak. That's just outstanding peaks, though, from the Prodigies, winning both of the initial fights on the site. And now the B site should be a lot easier to take. However, the rotates are in position.
Got to remember as well, that's both rifles taken out. That's a good position there from Zilla. Oh, he'll punish in the end onto Akon, but I think he could have bitten off a bit more of that if he was a bit more technical with his timing. But realistically speaking, this is another round on the board for Prodigies. I mean, just to break that B push down a little bit more, both rifles from Poggies there on A site, right? The minute they start swinging and peeking through after those flashes are popped, they're peeking dry essentially at that point. The flash is already done and dusted. That leaves them so open for kills there for Prodigies. They get those 2 rifles knocked out immediately. The rotations coming from Poggies, and it's all she wrote as far as B side is concerned at that point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the Prodigies, they're so good at calling their struts. They even faked me out. I didn't realize they're going A until, you know, the B threat was eliminated and you could just see at the minimap, oh, hang on, they're up top mid already. But yeah, no, really nice structure from the Prodigies. And they're just fortunate to get those opening picks, like we said, but that's just the skill on the server. You can see FNK and Co just locking things down. And that really does force Poggies into a gamble stack one way or the other. And you can see it works out perfectly for the Prodigies, despite, you know, Zilla finding a hole.
Yeah, I think Zilla could have made more of that, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
The timing was perfect for him coming through, through Boiler, but I think a couple of seconds more in that doorway, you'd have caught all 4 players out. You could have potentially made a bit more of a move against them there. Realistically speaking, though, he's one man with a deagle, right? I mean, it's going to be difficult to place 3 shots back to back, let alone 1 in that scenario. We saw a scramble to get the kill in the initial foray into that fight anyway. This should, realistically speaking, be a full buy from both teams. We are seeing that effectively coming through in the way that the buys are coming through. A good utility stack from Poggies to try and block off this B push, though, because you can see a lot of that utility now heading towards Banana, essentially.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much damage is dealt as the test match of utility rains on through. Oh, Prodigy's actually come out on top. A lot of damage, but no kills coming through, and that's a really interesting peek up top middle there from Poggies. Lolita kind of throwing their life away, in my opinion, but that should be another easy enough round for the Prodigies. You know, they did get knocked down quite low, but with those frags in hand and their ability to just stay alive, just stay just out of reach of that utility, just gives them an easy round win, and it kind of fortifies their economy.
Yeah, FNK just like gripping on for dear life there at 10 HP, but managed to pick up 2 frags at top mid. Again, it's that utility usage again coming into the swing of things. Prodigies are just in a very good position to be able to deploy those 2 big frag grenades at top mid. That more or less wipes out 2 players initially on the initial damage. and then it's just a case of clean sweep off the back end of it. TVS, speaking of clean sweeps, is looking for more off the back of this. Zilla will fall, and immediately after, Hecky will as well. FNK there picking up his third of that round.
Yeah. Not scared whatsoever. He might be 10 HP, but he truly believes in his own skill, and you can see exactly why picking up 3 kills. I think the Prodigies are kind of flustering Poggies at this point. You know, after that strong start, the Poggies might have faked themselves into a false sense of kind of security, but now you can see the Prodigies really challenging them, and even an interesting buy coming through from Poggy.
Yeah, okay. If you're in a scenario like this where you're getting round after round taken off you, an XM10 can change the dynamic quite a fair bit if it's put in the right position. Speaking of positions, this is the right position to put it in. You'll clear the first kill off straight off the bat there, pick up and recover that AK and bring that into the fight. I wonder if the XM is going to get picked up anyway. It gets actually picked up by Hecky again. He's swapping between two. He's juggling. Yeah, okay. He gets the XM into the hands of Lolita, and the AK still in his hands. To recover that weapon and keep it. That good dash there through into mid. There's a lot of trade damage, but TVS comes out on top. 3 HP left to his name, and he survives somehow.
SBT working his way through that. Gets a people lurking, and he's just cutting players down left and right. There is a final answering to the call from Vlad, but it's going to be a little too late as the Prodigies just walk their way onto a free B site. There are, you know, rifles to be picked up, including that XM, but I think the Poggies are kind of hoping for a bit more than a consolation. They're kind of hoping for rounds.
They need to at this point. I mean, realistically speaking, Jammer, they're in a position where they're in an economy deficit. You know, they can only realistically recover 2 AKs into this round. Okay, well, there's a little bit of utility to recover as well, but you've got to look at the rest of the team. You know, you've got 2 players at sub 2,500. That means next round they're going to be looking at SMGs potentially. They should now be on max loss bonus. So yes, they're going to be able to buy M4s into it, but are you going to want to spend that extra bit of cash on an M4 when you get an SMG, full armor, utility? There's going to be a lot of mathematics going on in the background there. What I'm wondering though, from the Prodigy side of things, is how the team comms are going. Because, you know, if you're on this winning streak as it is, are you relaxing into it, or are you keeping that momentum up? We should be able to listen in momentarily, but I'm so glad we got to replay that opening goal. I mean, the XM10's in a good position, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just as keen as you, though. That's perfect segue as we get into a comms round.
Go straight to Mexico, and we can double peek mid.
Yeah, okay. I'm only boiler for you, Jean.
I'm
molly
standing
top
mid at the
and I
start.
need.
I'm
I'm gonna try going
wait,
close
just
now
wait.
for-
Just wait.
Flash whenever. Flash, flash,
Flashing.
flash.
Boom.
I'm going close. I'm ready to peek when you are.
3, 2, 1.
One, go.
I cannot help
Don't
you.
see short. Don't see long either.
All
Hand back one.
I'm coming close with you.
I'm
I have
only
long.
send back.
I'm
close
1
up.
HP.
Hey guys,
They smoke ups. They
Just
smoke
like
deep ups.
you're blocked on banana, guys.
Yeah.
They are. We are
Okay,
blocked.
let's
They've
wait.
used both smokes on B.
You will do pressure on B and we go slowly on mid, okay, Jam?
Yeah.
We double
They
Wait,
smoke
we
ups.
cannot do yet. Wait.
Yeah, just wait. Oh, wait
You can
for-
flash me half full when I tell you, Icon. Wait. Flash now.
Flashing.
Start to get close.
I'm coming close.
He maul it.
Retake you, Tolo.
Take
I'm
Just a
taking
molly.
long. One dead long.
Nice.
Yes.
We can
I
go
go
together.
second.
Eh?
I'm coming with you. I'm coming with
Okay,
you.
Rory,
Yep.
please.
Yeah.
It's
I'm with
good,
the
guys.
bomb bag.
I'm
clearing up.
Careful short when you
We're
come, guys.
splitting.
Chill long, you have to fast.
Yeah,
Wait a
chill.
bit.
One is side. He smoked off moto.
All library.
Can you rush?
all,
FNK?
Okay.
Rush, rush,
Okay,
rush.
I'm
Yeah.
on library.
all my
Thanks for
side
waiting.
arch.
Let me
Okay.
clear.
Holding.
I
Go
will
down,
flash
go
that
down,
for you
go
guys, okay?
Pit.
Flashing side.
I'm on a pit.
Flashing side again.
Molotov in behind library.
Pit.
Dead pit.
Side. Force.
One
For the box.
Dead.
Nice.
dead.
Nice.
Long,
One library.
Planting by.
Yes, I
I
Oh,
smoke
no.
moto. I smoke
Good
moto.
advantage.
Nice. I'm hiding corner. Get. I have them if he.
I can
goes
flash.
in-
I'm in
Nicole-
ups.
Hold
Right,
short.
library.
Hold short, TVS.
Okay.
I'm going boiler.
Oh,
I will hold
okay.
your shot after.
You have one more smoke, Icon.
Wait, I'm a bit late. They flash me.
One long. He
I
stepped
have
long.
I
I
have shot now.
resmoked long.
He stepped back, I think. Don't like he stepped back.
Gap left side.
Could be ups timing, but I don't think so.
You need to run, Icon. You can save pit TVS if you. And Jerome.
Yeah. Let's go.
Nice
Probably
round
long.
again. Good split,
Play,
boys.
but
Good job.
flashing right side. Take care.
Good call,
Fine.
SPT.
Wait,
Donkey shirt.
I survive here?
They did like default again. Yeah, longer dead, long clear.
No, I don't
Easy
survive
check.
here. You trolled me, bro.
Yeah, bomb was not planted.
Oh,
Like,
it was deep. Oh,
it was
you told me.
dark,
You told
planted
Okay,
on
nice
dark.
check.
Good
Well-
round from I mean the comms are a bit chaotic at times, but still nonetheless a very good round from them. A little bit of trolling there at the end, Jammer as well. Also, TVS, you can sit in the corner, you'll be fine. No worries. And that bomb goes off, and that's all she wrote. We should obviously mention once again there is still the giveaway that's ongoing. Guess the weight of the death out of 3, and you could win yourself either or of those 2 mice. But we'll swing straight back into the action, Jammer. And I mean, good comms round coming in from Prodigies again, just kind of showing that, you know, even under pressure, they can remain a little bit cool and calm and collective, and they're able to convert that cool, calm, collective stance into kills.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, it's very telling. Oh, okay. That, you know what's telling? Acorn hitting shots. That's going to lead to success if you're ripping Orphers out. Okay. Anyway.
That's going to tilt, right? You know, that's going to tilt an Orpha easily. I mean, it's going to annoy at least anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Poggies, you know, they're just kind of grasping for straws with pushes like that, and you know they get a lot of info off the back of it, but you can't hold that realistically, especially when the B site has this much pressure. You kind of need to get that quick flank coming in, or you need that quick rotation, and they kind of pick in between. They get that 1 kill, and and they're not trying to deny the plant like that is all well and good, but you need the utility and the play behind it with your teammates. This is definitely a retake that could have had some teeth in it, though. It is going to end up just being Vladim in a 1 versus 3. He gets the first. 2 more Prodigies to find, and SBT has spotted him out, but I think some team play is going on as a smoke comes through, but Acorn will get it in the end, and that's the 7th for the Prodigies, locking it in. I think, you know, going back to to what you were saying, you can kind of tell the atmosphere in the Prodigies camp is kind of like juvenile, but in a good way. You know, they're kind of having fun with it. They're talking things through and just playing relaxed, which is exactly what you need to do in games like this.
Yeah, I mean, you're going into a game where you can only really look at the stats of another team and see the potential for there to be, you know, quite a hard and difficult map to take off them. You know, Prodigy's must have looked like you and I looked and gone, well, okay, Vadim is a dangerous player. This map is one of their maps that it appears to be one of their specialty maps. We need to claw as many rounds as we can off them, have a bit of fun with it, but at the same time, game face when you're in the moment and have that little bit of fun afterwards. And you can kind of tell that from the comms and the ebb and flow between the two, between all the guys. Good entries again. I mean, this B-site entry's just been incredible for FNK and Acorn. They've been smashing heads every single time they get into that position. It's forcing Poggies to try and rethink their strats as far as how they hold A-site, and they're having to push players early into rotations into B-site to try and hold some level of ground, which they're just not able to do. FNK again chiming off in the background. He'll fall in the end, but he's taken players down with him. Vadimus will take up 2, but he's converted immediately by SBT. My words aren't even coming out correctly now. SBT will convert another, and it's now in a 1v1, and SBT's got a very good position to hold, but Lolita's just going to be quicker on the trigger there, and that'll put Poggies 3rd on the board.
Yeah,
it's been a long time coming, though.
The real crux of that round is, you know, Prodigies, you're right, they're getting these entries on B and they catch a cracking time in really pressing the issue and being advanced, you know, not kind of showing their hand by taking the frags before the nades come through even. But I think, you know, one of the downfalls of that kind of strategy is you leave yourself open to counter spams, counter utility coming through because it's so advanced. You get the site so early into the round that the utility across the board is pretty much in everyone's pockets to be used on that retake. And when you're not getting the picks before the retakes come through, then it's going to come right down to the wire and will fall into the CT's favor. So that's kind of why you're seeing a situation like that. And now you're seeing aggression again from the Poggies. It seems like whenever the Poggies win a round, they're just spurred on by the energy and they just go super aggressive. Not led to success so far, and it's not going to lead to success in this round so far. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting playstyle.
It's going to get more here. I mean, realistically speaking, he's lighting everything and anything up there on mid. He'll fall in the end to TVS, but it's a 2v1, and the rotation's already coming in from Hiki. This is good play though from Hiki. I mean, he's immediately on the rotate. He's got to know that they're overcommitted towards A site. Lots of utilities just getting through. He's going to push through the smoke. He gets the initial frag. He gets the second shot off it. That's insane of a retake.
That is an insane retake. Catches a perfect timing pushing through the smoke, which is completely unorthodox, what you shouldn't be doing, but that's exactly why it works. And now he's able to pick up the AWP, and the Poggies are kind of spurred back into this game. They won 2 rounds in a row, and they can definitely make something of this half now.
Forgive me in advance of mentioning this, but it's very NA of it, you know, the push through smoke. Kind of reminds me of like early days Stewie 2K, you know, like pushing through that smoke, being super and hyper aggressive off the back of it, and you know, being overcommitted. Let's listen to a few more of the comms here with the Prodigies to see what they're going to do to try and recover that round back.
I molly sandbag.
Throw the second mid nades, Jerome. To mid.
Give me I molly sandbag. Molly.
Yeah.
No one jumped. Deep
Flashing
on the mid.
once.
Watch that big tree.
First take B3B.
Can't see.
No, not taking.
Okay, two more B, safe call.
Yeah.
They smoked
Two
up
more,
mid.
two
They
more.
smoked up
Flashing
mid.
column.
I'm taking the bomb. You're alone
Let's
towards
just,
that.
guys,
Jerome.
listen, walk back
Okay.
to you. No, slow.
I want to retake on B.
Yeah,
Mid is
it's
still
okay.
smoked.
Can
Yes,
we
gap
trade
to the
TVS?
left.
I'm low.
Yeah. We
They mono
Give me your flash,
Fake mono.
Just listen, we go close mid. I will flash you in. You guys smoke moto and go together short, and Jerome will be apps.
Okay, maybe take a baller.
Okay, call
Flash.
flash when you went. Flash in front.
Close.
Boom.
Taking long. Don't see.
Don't see short. Don't see.
Can someone
I can
smoke
smoke
moto?
moto. I can smoke
Just
moto.
come short.
Smoke moto.
I will flash.
Just molly pit, I will flash for pit. And
I
we
can
push
molly.
side. Yeah,
Molotov
molly.
in pit.
Flash side.
Flashing now. Boom.
His side.
Shocks and peek.
On side.
Dead one.
Headshot.
Headshot one.
Headshot.
Dead headshot.
Nice.
Dead long.
Nice, on one.
Nice.
I need long.
Everyone load, play safe.
I'm
I'm
planting. Just
I'm
hold the
headshot
smokes.
still.
Long, last
Yep.
long.
I have him long full.
Long. No.
Gotta hide, I'm on HP.
Oh, I miss him.
Nice.
Enemy
Okay.
side.
Okay.
What is that smoke?
Behind you.
Guys.
In front.
He have though.
The guy
Oh.
from the worst angle is supposed to have first contact. The rest peeking on timing, okay? Let's
Yeah.
go.
Good round there from Prodigies. I mean, bit of a scramble though on the site. Jammer, a lot of lower HP players, and you know Johnny's going to take full advantage of that. You right at the very end. What was that smoke? I can tell you what that smoke was. That smoke was to try and distract the player. I know this because it's a frequent one that I use. It's also known as I just threw it in the wrong direction. To be completely honest with you, but nonetheless, a good round from Prodigies. Very well worked out in the end. I think there was a lot of high momentum, but still good nonetheless. Stroman's going to start things off there. Lolita will be dropped inside of apps. Got to know now that it's the eco round coming in from Poggies. They've had a back-to-back loss there, so realistically speaking, it's upgraded pistols or nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vladim should be caught up by Jerome. Okay, that's a nice adjustment. Jerome does drop in middle, but that's kind of really worrisome for the Prodigies now because their threat has been cut in half. You know, you can see if TVS goes down with the AWP there, then bombs in no man's land, and Vladim can absolutely double up on his advances. There is an opportunity, but no scope from TVS connects, and that's the talent of a Prodigy right there, ladies and gentlemen. Should be a 9th round on the board as Poggies are forced to concede this one. One thing I do want to talk about from the previous round is, you know, there was that problematic smoke, but immediately after making those 2 mistakes, giving that 1v1 over, the players are instantly, you know, talking about the reactions like, oh, guys, like, we shouldn't be making mistakes like that. You know, we make the player with the worst angle peak first, and then the rest of the players can peak on timing, because that makes it an impossible situation for the CT side. And, you know, it's those little adjustments, those little things that the players need to be aware of and pick up from and implement time and time again that will lead them to consistent victories. And it's exactly what the Prodigies are working on doing. So really nice play in the end. They will get a 9th on the board, and it does seem as though they're going to run away with the half.
Yeah, if I keep continuing to do stuff like that, they're going to run away with this, realistically speaking. You can see there from the player cams, everyone looking very cool and calm and collective. Jammer, I love saying cool, calm, and collective because it is realistic in this scenario. I mean, we're listening to their communications. They are, from an outsider's perspective who's never taken part in esports in this way, they sound chaotic, but there's a method to the madness. There's a method to the chaos.
Yeah.
It's not all as bad as it sounds like it is, because there's a lot of really good communication that's going on between these players. That angle peak there, FNK will actually finish off Vadimus, who's on the right hand side of that peak, and there's a bit of damage dealt out to Zilla. He's going to be forced to reposition himself with the AWP there. He's going to get the smoke out of position again. Acorn again, deadly with these swing peaks into B side. Looking for something. He's not going to get anything converted off the back of it, but the stack is ready behind him to push into the site and take control. SBT should be leading the charge here, realistically speaking. There's a little bit of utility to use to get themselves into position. That flash will go through. There's a big grenade off the back of it. SBT will finish off Hiki. And it's all on the hunt now for Johnny. Johnny's going to drop immediately off the back of it. SBT again showing why he has 110 ADR with only 2 maps played so far. Just swinging into sight and clearing heads. Exactly what you want to see from an entry fragger like that. They've got full site control. There is nothing for Poggies to do in this round. Absolutely nothing, Jammer, other than just sit back and let it happen.
Absolutely, and getting so late into the half, their economy being wrecked, they have to save these rifles. You can see the reaction. The Prodigies know it. They're going on the hunt. They want to take the rifles out of the hands of the Poggies, and Lolita almost got timed right there. He will get angle peaked, but Jerome can't quite pull the kill across the board. I'm sure there are plenty of other players in the teams to help. That's not the kind of angle you want to be peeking, and the Prodigies won't really be able to take many of the rifles out of the hands. The AWP does get taken away though, and that's kind of the big one. That's the big ticket item that you do want to take away, because that ensures there's no AWP into the last round of the half, and should make life a little bit easier for the Prodigies. Although, looking at the way things have gone, things haven't been all that difficult.
Not really, no. I thought I saw a double AWP setup here from Prodigies a second ago. I don't know if there's an AWP perhaps laying around there in T's phone that's been discarded. It has been. Okay, perfect. It wasn't just my eyes deceiving me, but I was going to say, are we going to see the magical double AWP setup from T side on Inferno? It's very rare that it comes out. When it does, it can be special. We're not going to see it, of course, in this round, and Acorn's going to swing into that little bit of fire that's left just to burn him ever so slightly. And again, this favoured push from Prodigies coming into effect. They're looking to get those early picks into B site, try and get a little bit of control, and then wrap themselves back around into A if need be. No damage laid out just yet, but that nade should do a little bit. Actually, it won't. It'll bounce above the heads of the CT players. There's a flash peek into the sporadic AK fire coming in from SBT and Acorn. Zilla finish off Acorn in the end, and SBT is going to fall back into a better position to recover bomb. And they'll swing themselves through into A site. FNK deep around in this angle again, Jam. I've seen this twice now. He'll get caught up by Valdemus in the end, but there's just a lot. Look at the communication already. The rotation again from Prodigies back towards B site. This is perfectly played from them. They've got to be careful with noise control here, because Zilla can hear them from around that corner. The AK fire there might have been a little bit too much potentially, but they should get a bomb planned out of this at least.
Yeah, 3-on-3 open B site. The Poggies have rotated in, so the Prodigies need to be careful. Gaps in the smokes almost leading to their doom. Do just narrowly escape that, and the smoke push isn't going to be effective from Zilla. Often not the case, so for those of you at home, don't do smoke pushes. DVS will take out another, and that should be an 11th round for the Prodigies. Not quite the 14-1 half that we saw last game, but it's not far off it. Poggies, sorry, do seem a bit flustered, and I think the Prodigies are just playing really well. One of the things that I do want to talk about going into the half, actually, is how effective SBT has been at entering. You highlighted him as a star player going into this, and he's just been dominating. There have been multiple rounds, like almost filling up a hand's worth of fingers, where he's just got 2 entries onto a site, and then no one else has died on the Prodigies. It's outstanding.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly what you want to see from a player like that. He's putting himself into a committed position, and then once he's in that committed position, he's showing why he's in that position to be committed. You know, he's pushing all the angles that you expect an entry fragger to do. He's checking all those dead zones. He's just making sure that his teammates can get in, survive in decide, get bomb plant control, and get post plant positioning. And it's worked time and time again on B side. I think you're right though. Poggies just looked incredibly flustered towards the end of that towards the end of the first half. They just didn't know how to control the map. You know, we saw these over aggressive plays in the very early rounds from them. They got punished on more than one occasion for those early aggressive pushes through mid, and then they just kind of scrambled around each other to try and scrounge what kit they had left available to them. Yeah, I mean, this is not the side I thought that we were going to be watching. You know, 4 win streaks on 4 win streaks so far, 3 on Inferno, and so far I'm not really seeing the 16-5 scoreline that we saw before, the 16-9 that we saw from them before. You know, Prodigies are really working this map to their advantage.
Yeah, and another thing I want to highlight is, we're moving on to the Prodigy's stronger side. The Prodigies are statistically, I know it's only been one map, but, they won 14 rounds in that only other Inferno game on the CT side. So this is going to be a worrying prospect for the Poggies moving forward. The Prodigies, though, they're looking high and mighty. And I think another thing to talk about going into this is just how vocal FNK has been. I think he's the caller. I'm going to go off that based off the comms rounds that we've heard. I could be absolutely wrong. But yeah, FNK being a big voice in this team, I think has led to some of the success. He's really kind of directing and coordinating the players so that they can look like a cohesive unit.
Big pistol round needed from both sides, realistically speaking. Prodigies win this pistol, and I think it's all downhill for Poggies, to be completely honest with you. I mean, that's a decent flashbang to try and recover some ground, but there was no ground actually recovered off the back of it. It was just pop it and see what happens. Boiler is going to be the play for Vadimus. He'll come out and take TVS down. This leaves Acorn in an awkward position, but he's got FNK there to back him up. All that audio is being played to him right now. He knows that rotations are happening, and you can see already FNK swinging himself back around in towards B side to get ready for this push, because it's coming, and it's coming rapidly in the form of Heki and also Lolita? Yeah, Lolita pushing up in towards B side. A little bit of utility usage to cover that across. You can see the wraparound coming from SBT again. This is good so far from Prodigies to get himself in a position to retake. If a bomb plant does go in, Zilla will kill off only one player in the end. Hiki actually gets the second. SBT there will cover one off the back of that. There's a second headshot, a third headshot. He's not enough to get down Hiki in the end, but he's done the damage. He's given Acorn a gift of a round, essentially, to recover this back into Prodigy's favour. Just needs to land that one shot with USP. You'll put 3 or 4 down. You'll get a little bit more damage off the back of it, but he's got time to play with you. He's got a kit as well, Jammer. Is he going to stick it? Absolutely. He will stick it. Oh, that's incredible. Well,
pros almost don't fake, but he wins the round anyway. Acorn coming up clutch again. A couple of clutch rounds from Acorn to bring rounds across the line. That is a 12th round for the Prodigies, and you said it at the very start, that was a pivotal round for Poggies to pick up, and they put themselves in the perfect position to do it. They were in a 3 versus 2. SBT just walks across coffins and takes skulls with him. Acorn set up perfectly for that 1v1, but I really think that should have been a Poggies round, all things considered.
Yeah.
A bit unfortunate for them, but now the Prodigies should be walking on a little bit of easy street. I say that though, the Poggies are forced in with Gallows, so they technically have a little bit more firepower. Let's see what they can do with it though.
They definitely have the stronger firepower in this round, but it's where you put them and it's how you place them, right? Vadim's going to go for the same old trick again. Let's see what happens from Boiler from him, but no player is really tucked in too close for him to dominate off the back of it. SBT's in a good position to actually get a kill, to kill him off with that UMP. He's got the distance and he's got good positioning to be able to make it work. He'll pick up the first, the second immediately off the back of it. He won't get the third. He'll get taken down in the end by the scout, but it's done a lot of damage to Poggies, and it's stifled them a little bit there. They seem very apprehensive to wrap themselves around onto long, almost like they're unsure of what positions the potential for rotation players could come in with. TVS should catch at least one out here onto mid. I mean, there's no reason for him not to. He'll swing out from deep. He'll pick up the first there with the M4 dropping, he's actually got a player there to back him up as well. That's going to be Acorn again, being dangerous from that first round, the first half there, Jammer. Okay, makes a little bit of an error of judgment there, jumping through in, makes a bit of noise, and Vanderbilt dominates at the back of it. TVS, low HP, will pick up the first with that MP9, but he'll fall in the end, and we're back in the 1v1 scenario.
Absolutely, Dro. He's been in positions like this before, even from last season. Does have a bit more experience than some of the other Prodigies, and should be able to make something of this, but he has no kit, so he does have to move fairly quickly and try and suss out Hiki's position, as quick as possible, really, especially considering, he does have that 10-second defuse unless he can find the kit. He's trying to find that position, taps out the bomb. That will force Hiki out of position, but Hiki comes out on top, and that's a 5th round for Poggies. Prodigies do get caught lacking somewhat, and now this is going to be... apologies. This is going to be the Force Spy Wars. I love it when it happens, but perhaps not in a scenario like this. I wonder how the Prodigies are going to be sounding after a round like that, though, because they shouldn't have really kind of even come that close, let alone lose it.
Fall on,
Yeah, okay.
One towards banana.
Ready to flash.
Two
I'm
banana.
peeking mid. One close mid,
I was
max
more
10.
close well.
Pushing up mid one. Might have gone off long.
We said two banana.
Can
I'm gonna
flash deep.
re-check mid,
Alright.
He smoked off long.
I will try to go in
One
smoke.
mid with Plankton. I'm
I
going
risk my
mid.
Genju then to bait.
Guys, gap long, they could go through the
Can you flash deep?
Yes, flashing.
Molotov, fail short, Molotov.
Blind.
He's T-ramp. What a time.
One is
He's
mid.
holding from T-ramp still.
Yeah, playing in front of the wall. He doesn't know about me.
Long, could have
Oh,
gone
bah,
CT.
I don't know. Close to wall, close to wall.
He's not pushing.
One short, dead.
One
One
more
more short. The Molotov pit. I'm standing out in open.
Smoke.
He smoked up to go upside.
Hey,
They
one
flash
more.
over. I'm in pit again. Upside two. One side. One down pit. One more through
Side,
dead.
side
One more
again.
side. One more side.
I'm going mid.
Let's chill, guys. Take time.
And for last.
Wait for Jerome.
One side,
Side,
that's we
one
don't.
He's
side.
flashing. I'm picking right side. He's on top of the box. Dead.
Inside.
That's one side.
Dark.
Side.
Left side. Close.
Nice!
Nice.
Fucking round, TVS.
What the fuck, bro?
Play was
Thank you.
Acorn, you were muted the whole round.
What the fuck?
Not needed to talk. Just kill them.
Just like
Nice round, TVS.
Thank you.
insane.
Good job.
How they allow me to live there though? No.
It's okay.
Yeah, they were.
Drop one.
Well, you can probably hear the smile on my face. Acorn there playing the entire round he did, and then quite aptly puts it, "You don't need to talk, you just need to kill them." And that's the that is literally the best response I think I've ever heard to someone being like, "Sorry guys, I messed up. I muted my microphone." But yeah, well played from Prodigies. I mean, they took control early on. In that push into a side to recover that control back, I should say. But realistically speaking, they're on a high right now, and they need to continue that high pushing through into this. SBT will pick up one. FNK doesn't care about his SMG. He'll swing out with a pistol, take down Johnny. He does enough damage on Hiki. I have no idea how that man is still alive, but not for much longer. Drome's in a good position here to take on not one, but two players back to back. To push himself into a better position, give himself a little bit more ground to maneuver with. He's also got a rotation player coming in the form of Acorn. I wonder if he's muted this time round or if he's good to go as far as comms are concerned. But that swing through is perfect. The flashbang goes in from Jerome, and Acorn just clears house.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both of those previous rounds were kind of tornado firestorms of rounds where the Poggies were really trying to push the issue, really trying to force the Prodigies into uncomfortable positions. But that's exactly where the talent of these Prodigies, thrives. This is where they're going to come out on top more often than not in those kinds of situations. And they kind of show exactly what they're worth from that position forward. A little bit of a question mark here as FNK forgot his M4 in spawn. I wonder when he'll realize that. But irrespective of that scenario, the Prodigies are looking sitting pretty. Yeah, there you go. He's getting it now.
It's like, wait a minute, something's missing here. Running really light over towards B side. He'll recover the M4 at least anyway. I think he just wanted to get there early, get those grenades out. I mean, utility usage is good on B side, on Banana even, I should say, to do that early damage onto T side.
Yeah, I think, you know, TVS also summed up those couple previous rounds perfectly, and he just said, how do they let me live in pit so long? And I think that kind of is a great sentiment for how this half has gone. You know, the Prodigies are kind of sat there making plays, and they're kind of wondering, not worrying, how they're managing to get away with things, because Poggies just aren't looking up to scratch right now.
Tell you he's not worrying, is Jerome. I mean, he's in a very good position here at Coffin to try and recuperate some damage here. Vladimir's there just slicing the pie and takes down 2 players back to back. Immediately cuts me off as SVT and Akon do fall. Zilla's there. Right? Yeah, I know, every single time, my friend. Akon there was playing anchor for quite a bit there for Poggies, in a good position. He's called his teammates over, and this round should go in their direction.
Yeah, Poggies by themselves a lifeline. Just stay alive that much longer as they do lock in a 16th round. Jerome, perhaps being a little bit audacious there, trying to get some damage done, but ultimately unwarranted, in my opinion. FNK now left alive, and I think the Prodigies are really going to be using this time to discuss how they want to counter what the Poggies are doing moving forward, because we've seen them be aggressive on their CT side, we've seen them be aggressive on their T side, and now it's started to work. Now is kind of where the I can't get my words out. The Prodigies
come on,
there we go, I got it. Need to kind of figure out how they want to approach things, because they are being tested a little bit right now, and I think this is more of what we were expecting coming into the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, they're being super confident on their T side so far. They're making plays that are advantageous towards, holding their sort of positions that they need to be within. But I think the danger man at the minute again is Vladimir. He's able to pick up 2 here quite easily, uncontested, more or less, you'd say, inside of apps, and TVS just isn't prepared for him to be pushing out through that smoke again. It's been a bit of a weird game to watch, realistically speaking, because there's been a lot of pushes through smoke, which is something we don't tend to see. Even intermediate and higher, players don't tend to throw those sort of, I don't want to use the word matchmaking strats, but kind of like matchmaking strats, you know what I mean? In the sense of making those dangerous plays, but they're working against each other, so why not? Couple rounds left in this match, of course, though. Prodigy's looking to pick up the last remaining few. While we're waiting, though, for this pause to finish off, Jammer, another quick reminder for chat. You can get involved in the giveaway. Giveaway is up on screen. You can go ahead and guess the weight of the death out of 3, which is the mouse on the right-hand side, the one that's in white. And you can then win either or of those 2 mouse. So you can either get yourself a Viper V2 Pro or a death out of 3. I think we already mentioned this at the very beginning. I have an all-white setup, but I have a black mouse, so I'd probably go with the death out of 3 myself, personally.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome compared to last season, having amazing sponsors like Razer, CSmoney, Refrag, and Scope.gg supporting initiatives like this, bringing teams talent to look at and potentially pick up, but also, giving something to the viewers. There's mice to win, there's like different things and giveaways for every map this season. So, everyone wins, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, Prodigy boys win as well. That's what we want to see, more importantly, right? Everyone in chat, you want to see the boys take over a win against, again, I'm going to say it, what should be a formidable Poggy side. So far, we haven't really seen a lot of the formidability that we kind of predicted pre-match, Jammer, which is strange to say the least.
I think that has something to do with SBT being 23 and 13 right now.
Yeah. I mean, that might have a little bit of thing to do with it. FNK also is chiming in 16 and 13. Let's not leave that man out. He's been instrumental in some of the frags that have been picked up. It's interesting to see them not stack around the M4 though, right? Oh.
I think it kind of just helps this multi-pronged threat, and you can see how deadly it can be. You can't fight multiple angles at once, so when you get 3 people peeking you at different angles, it's so hard to come out on top. And there's even another kill for FNK, instrumental with kills as well as the comms and the stats. I was wondering if this was going to happen, and it did. The Prodigies just set up perfectly for that kind of a push, and I can't believe that's how they got that point. I was actually stunned so much I could speak.
Yeah, I mean that is literally the quintessential perfect eco round, right? You know, they don't stack up again. I initially questioned it myself initially. I was like, why are they not stacking up around the M4? You know, you'd expect them to not go for upgraded pistols, maybe go for SMGs, push a little bit more aggressive into it, buy some utility to work into the dead angles. They didn't need it in the end because FNK just took 3 pieces off mid. Speaking of taking pieces of mid, Zilla will finish off Acorn now. It was on aggressive push through, well, I say aggressive push through smoke, aggressive into the smoke itself. They'll get punished for it. SBT nearly gets caught in the time in there. Very, very close to that. Johnny's super low HP here. There's no way he survives into sight. SBT will pick him up. He's going to go for a second. He's looking to connect onto it. He lands a lot of damage, but not enough to write home about. And Kiki is going to write home about that kill on FNK. Again, that's another danger man taken out as far as Poggies is concerned. Good kill there from TVS. Picks up the rotation play. No bomb spotted as of yet, but he should be called in for assistance from someone. Jerome is the nearest man to him, but he's a man on an island at the minute, and he's trying to fight with all his life. He'll pick up another, but he will get taken down in the end by Vandamus. It's now a 2v2. HP does advantage onto Prodigies. I say that as it gets taken away. Zilla makes me eat my words instantaneously, but the HP advantage is technically still with Prodigies. Show them 100, 48 and 7. My maths isn't the best, but that definitely doesn't equal over 100, right?
It's 55, I believe.
Quick maths.
Sounds
anyway,
about right. Yeah.
It's been a long day, Jammer. Anyway, let's move on before chat go. What are these guys on about? 15-6 is the scoreline at the very top. Jerome there coming through into sight. It's a 1v2. This is a big round for him. I mean, realistically speaking, he clears these dead angles. That grenade doesn't do any additional damage there onto the pit man. He'll pick him up regardless, so that flashbang will work in his favor. He's looking to peek at the sight. He should see the player there. Get the kill. He doesn't. Vladimus will finish him off.
That's so unfortunate.
They've scrambled that round out.
Yeah, man, Jerome made something of an impossible situation. He was about to get double peaked as he was swinging onto the site, and that's where he picks up the first kill. Fortunate timing on the flashbang there, and just doesn't quite spot the second player on site as he swings through. That's real unfortunate, but just the fact that he can make the rounds that close is a little glimmer of hope. Well, I say glimmer of hope. The Prodigies are up by quite a few rounds, so yeah. It's a glimmer of hope in situations where they shouldn't even have hope, I guess.
Yes. No, I get what you mean though. I mean, it's that kind of scenario where you're like, right, okay, we need one more round on the board. Drone gets some, millimeters, particles away from getting that round on the board, and he isn't able to commit off the back of it. But it puts Poggies on check essentially. They're in a position now where, again, obviously they can't lose rounds, but they can't also make mistakes that they have been making throughout the entirety of the first half and somewhat into the second. Eco round here coming in from Prodigies. They can afford to let 1 or 2 rounds slip here. We'll cover some cash, Reno. The 4-man stack. The one we love to see, Jammer. Big tease, that'll do. Thank you very much. FNK picks up that Mac 10 and he's straight out of that position into a better one to hold things off. SBT will actually finish off Eggy. That's big.
That is big. The bomb's dropped and Joni's trying to scrap his way out of that position. FNK even tries to capitalize with the Mac 10 push, and Acorn can finish off the kill, so the bomb is in an absolute danger area. Zilla has to try and pick things up. Players swinging him, and even a team kill into boot, but this is definitely a round that Prodigies can pick up, and they probably should in this kind of a situation. Zilla's quite low. There should be trade potential here. The jump heat coming through, and Jerome closes things out. 16-7. The Prodigies stand strong on Inferno as they pick up their second win of the season.
I want to kind of go back to this for the people who weren't here at the very beginning of the stream. They have just absolutely battered a team that have destroyed everyone they've come up against so far on this map. And I mean, there's no real easy way of saying it. I mean, Poggies have won 4 games in a row. 3 of those games have been on Inferno, and all 3 of those games have just been absolute decimation against the teams they've gone up against. And Prodigy have just, you know, rise to the top, the very cream of the crop. That is exactly what the situation is for them. Perfectly played from them. They had a few rounds where there were scrambles. They had a few rounds where there were, you know, iffy, questionable plays happen. But realistically speaking, the end score is what matters, right? The points on the